Good morning. Welcome to Atheist Church. Today I thought that I would address two frequent questions. One is, what is my religious history? And two is, why am I doing this? And the two are related, so I thought I'd tackle them together and start with my own religious history. I was born a Catholic in Corona, California. Went to St. Edward's Church, where I was baptized wearing a gown. I don't really understand the whole gown thing, but I know that me and all of my brothers were baptized in long flowing gowns. So Catholicism just starts out weird right from the beginning. And then later I made First Communion. I don't remember a lot about it. I remember doing some studying and everybody being very proud of me, and I got to wear a tie. That was great. And then I got to, eat the body of Christ. My relationship with Christianity at that time was mostly one of Jesus was a lot like my mom. He was someone that I would feel guilty that I hurt him when I did bad things. An early memory I have from this time is I used to fight a lot back then, but oftentimes I would feel worse winning than I might if I lost. I didn't like the humiliation that losing a fight bestowed upon the other kid, and I would feel guilty for that more than for any punches thrown or anything like that. I was pushed into a fight with an older kid by my brothers, and I won, and then I felt really bad that this older kid had to, go home humiliated. I tried to apologize to him, and that just made it worse, made it more embarrassing. So I asked my mom to take me to confession. And it was the standard, type of joke you hear stand-up comedians tell when I got to confession. It was like, well, I beat some kid up, and I feel really bad, and, oh yeah, what else? Well, that was it. That was it. Came to confess. Well, surely you've done something else wrong. I smoked a cigarette, and what else? To the point where you want to start making up sins. I also remember one Easter climbing a ladder in my backyard, taking off my shirt so I'd be cold and uncomfortable, and trying to think about what Jesus felt like. And every time I wanted to come down from the ladder and go inside and have some food and comfort, I remembered, well, Jesus couldn't get down off the cross. So yeah, kind of twisted stuff. When I finally did come down from the ladder and went inside, nobody had noticed I was missing. And probably I wasn't out there that long, but in a kid's mind, I was out there for ages, and it felt very lonely and strange that no one had even noticed I was gone. It was the same noisy, bustling house that it had been when I left. I have really great memories of my Christian upbringing as well, though. I enjoyed the hell out of Christmas. They used to do a huge Easter pageant with Jesus up on the cross and lightning and, a passion play, basically, even though I think those were supposed to be not allowed after Vatican II. But it was pretty incredible. So then, like I said, I was a fighter, and after getting expelled from the second school, I was expelled in third grade, and I was expelled again in fifth grade. So I was a really bad kid. And during that summer, I went to a small one-room church in what used to be an army barracks. And this was a wild church. There were speaking in tongues running the walls, the whole thing. And I was born again. And it really made a huge difference in me. I threw myself into it heart and soul. And that year I went to what was called an alternative school, meaning it was extremely structured and disciplined, and they were allowed to hit us, but only in a very, disciplined sort of come in, get a paddle, not like just out of anger, reach out and smack us one. And I never did get hit, but I had an incredible teacher, and the principal there was really cool, and I got straight A's. So it was a complete turnaround from who I had been, praise Jesus, and, so it was a pretty wild experience. And then I went to junior high and started kind of being a bad kid again. And from that point on, I just kept really trying hard to be a good Christian, but constantly sort of being tempted the wrong way, this and that. And then went to a camp where I was going to burn some records. I think one of my Pink Floyd CDs may have even made it onto the campfire. But this wasn't like Jesus Camp, the movie. It was actually a really cool camp that I have fond memories of. And I remember my brother found out about the tape or no, it wasn't CDs. Yeah, this was old age. It was a tape. He found out about the tape burning and came over and told me, no. That's not the kind of Christianity we're into here. So this is my brother who is still a Christian minister to this day. So that was cool. The whole anti-book burning thing I learned young. And then And then came a continuation school. I got kicked out of school again. I went to a continuation school, which is school for bad kids. And I met a woman named Sherry. We called our teachers by their first names. And Sherry was an incredible, incredible woman. Introduced me to a book called Siddhartha and into religious questioning and into the fact that there were many other religions out there and that you tended to inherit your parents' religion. She didn't intend to introduce me to any of that necessarily. It was just a book that was available on her bookshelf, and when I asked if I could read that and do book reports on it for credit, she said yes. And Siddhartha started the questioning and started the end of my intellectual faith. As I've mentioned before, I continued to have my emotional faith because I had definitely felt something in church, something strong and powerful, something that changed my life in many ways. But I later discovered I could find that feeling elsewhere. And it was, I think, had to do with community, but it also had to do with ritual and music. Yes, I went to an Oingo Boingo concert and said, this is it. This feels just like what I had felt in church. And that was the end of my emotional faith. But I never forgot, what I had learned from my experiences in church, and I always tried to keep that sense of community and attachment to other people and that magic alive in my life. And I don't really believe it was magic. I believe it was a powerful psychological thing, part of the fact that I'm a social animal, but as I've always said, my becoming my cliche, knowing why chocolate tastes good doesn't make it taste any less great. Studying the science behind it will not dull you to it. And so I've always chased that, and I'm glad I was introduced to that, which brings me to where I am here. Why do I do this? And that's the part of the story that I didn't go into as much detail. When I started losing my faith, it hurt. It hurt. I had my niece asked me when I told her I was writing the Atheist Survival Guide, is it really that hard to survive as an atheist? Her life had been the trials and tribulations of surviving as a Christian. She didn't realize that not having a God would be difficult at all. It'd be freedom. And yes, in some ways it is. But if you have spent your whole life putting all your importance on an afterlife and a purpose that came from this book, and also all of your sense of community in belonging to a church and a belief system, losing it hurts. You feel empty. What replaces it? And there wasn't anything for me immediately to replace it. It was lonely. It was depressing. I was downright suicidal, which I may have been anyway. Many people are at that age. I was about somewhere between 15 and 16, all the way into when I was like 17 or 18 before I had continued studying and thinking and started to find purpose beyond church and started to find community beyond church. And then, became the person that I am now. And that's why I do this. I don't do this to piss off the Christians that are out there. I don't do this to taunt people. I'm not going to claim I'm altruistic either. Obviously, part of why I do this is because I'm building my own profile as an entertainer and a comedian and a writer. But if there's one thing I want to see come from this, it's for young people who are struggling with their faith to find a sense of community. Not that I'm the only part of that. I'm glad to be a small part of a big community that has exploded online and elsewhere that says it's okay not to believe in God. It's not hopeless. You're not all alone. You're not a freak. And, there's plenty of us. So that's who this is for more than anyone else, is anyone who is losing their faith or has lost their faith however long ago, and is feeling that struggle of stepping outside of the community where they had found comfort, stepping outside of the beliefs where they had found comfort. There's a lot of really nice, intelligent, active in their society people who are just like you. So, again, the bottom line message for why I do this and what I hope to express out there, and I hope my story behind it gave you a little insight into why this is important to me, is just to say it's okay not to believe. It's okay to be what you feel is rational and intelligent and to honestly follow where the research takes you. So I am thrilled with the community that has popped up around this, even the people that disagree with me when they do so in a way that's civil, and the discussions that we have. It's great. So thank you all for being a part of it, and so far it feels very successful, and I'm stoked that it's happening. So there's 2 questions addressed. I'm back from LA, had a great time, and looking really forward to seeing the footage from Larry Brand. He'll be taping more when he comes up to the Coexist Comedy Tour in Sacramento. That is going to be a huge event. One of the biggest events of my lifetime, the Coexist Comedy Tour at the Crest Theater, December 5th. If some of you even want to make a trip to Sacramento especially for it, I'd suggest it. It's going to be phenomenal. We're in a 1,000-seat theater, and we pack that theater when we've played there before. So come up and be a part of it, and thank you guys so much for being a part of this. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.